Welcome back to Fox Eyes on the Hill live this Sunday morning. You know, over the last 15 months, the Federal Reserve has raised the interest rate 10 times in its effort to rein in inflation. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell said this week that the economy is, quote, quite resilient. However, more rate hikes are expected later this year. That means higher mortgage rates. In 18 months, mortgage rates have basically doubled from about 3% to 6%. I want to welcome back in Corey Burr. He's the Senior Vice President of TTR Sotheby's International Realty. He's been with that industry for 30 years. Corey, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Good morning, Tom.
So we're in this moment of history right now, which we've never been in before because we've never come out of a pandemic like this with our modern housing market. So when you look at the landscape of where we are with housing right now, obviously one of the things we kept talking about during the pandemic, Corey, was that the fact that people were going to get out of apartment housing, were going to get out of density housing, and they wanted to have homes. Has that set up a situation now that has fundamentally altered what the housing market is now in 2023 and moving forward?
So I'm not quite sure because we're seeing downtown Washington doing just fine in terms of condominium sales. The housing market is still, single-family houses is still quite hot, even though we're coming out of the spring market for this year. So I don't think we can take any long-term trends beyond maybe the next 2 or 3 years. We just need to see how this all is going to settle out.
We've known a long time now that the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, does tend to have this bubble because of the existing job base here with the federal government that it kind of insulates this area from the woes of the housing market. Are you seeing that right now again, and how much of an effect are these rate hikes having on people's ability to find mortgages?
So as the Fed chairman said, we're having incredible resiliency, particularly in this last spring market. You know, the inventory is way down. It's down about 8% year over year. The new listings from last month are down 36%. So a lot of buyers are not chasing too much product.
What do you make of that with the inventory being down? Is that people basically saying, okay, I've landed at this place right now, I'm not looking to move up or down? Or is there stagnation in the market that these sales are not happening?
It's a combination. Older people are staying in their houses longer than they used to. The cost of going into assisted living is just much more expensive than trying to make a go of it by staying in one's own house. The other thing is that people are so reluctant to trade in that somewhere around 3% mortgage that they got during the pandemic and trade it not only for a new house, but for a much more expensive mortgage.
So does that basically put a lot of pressure on the houses that are out there on the market right now? What are you seeing as far as competitions? I've had some homes in my own neighborhood go, a day, almost as soon as they're put in the market.
So the median days on the market is only 6, and that's an extremely hot reading. But that's also during the spring market. I think that we're going to see rates higher longer than most people are expecting. And I also expect a period of time, many years in fact, where prices are going to just bump along. It reminds me of the 90s when the stock market and the new tech companies were doing great. Our market stayed flat from about 93 till about 2000.
A lot of that, though, was fueled by some of the, the mortgage deals that people had kind of later ran into trouble with over the savings and loan situation. I want to ask you about something that's been going on lately in our region. A lot of politicians talking about converting leased office space that's empty into residential housing. That would seem to be a solution for a lot of maybe moderate and low-income people. Is that an easy thing to do, to change an empty office space into an apartment?
So it's not a slam dunk. There's a lot of logistics that has to go into retrofitting a building. But with the woes of the commercial real estate market, maybe not even reaching its worst point because of the telecommuting, this is something that developers are looking into and REITs are looking into.
And you being an expert in the residential market, though, do you have to keep an eye on what's been going on with some of those companies because of the fact that people want to live near where they work? So does even, the commercial real estate market, does it have an effect on the residential?
Most certainly. Our city is not top-heavy enough with residential units downtown. So if we could get more people living downtown, I think it would be fabulous.
All right, Corey Burr joining us from Sotheby's International. Corey, always a pleasure to have you with us
Thank you,
this
Tom.
Sunday morning.